When the sun comes up on America, across open fields, small towns, and city streets, a new day begins. And here, we rise with it. This is where hard work meets headlines, where truth matters, and America wakes up informed.
An interesting week.
They all are.
This is your country. This is your morning. This is Daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. America, let's do it together.
Love you, Ivy.
Love you too.
And it starts right now.
All right, kicking off another brand new day here, fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom, giving you all the facts and analysis you don't get anywhere else. Here are three big things this hour. Number one, in Louisiana, Elon Musk investing $100 billion on a SpaceX launch coast that will mean 10,000 new employees, and it will change the future. Number two, the United States Postal Service being sued by 23 states now for its rules issued by the Trump administration that require mail-in ballots have to come from verified voters, which of course makes perfect sense, but not to the left. And number three, the media wants Republican voters to believe that you're going to lose. They want Republican voters depressed. The polls are designed to demoralize you. I'm going to give you my predictions for these midterms this morning, clear, specific, and in many cases, right against the grain of what the mainstream averages are showing. Let's start with the Michigan U.S. Senate race, the most watched race in America right now. Most of the published polling about Abdul El-Sayed has him leading or essentially tied. Real Clear Politics right now on the average has him up about 0.7 of a point. Other aggregators say roughly the same. And I'll be clear, I'm calling this for Mike Rogers, 52%, El-Sayed 47%, Rogers +5, and I expect that to grow. The individual surveys are all over the map. One has El-Sayed up 7, Fox has Rogers up 4, another has Rogers up 10. The latest bipartisan poll is a dead heat. Underneath those top lines, I see real trouble for El-Sayed. One major poll found 54% of voters saying his positions are too extreme. No kidding. More critically, his support among black voters was only 75%. Well short of what Kamala Harris got here last time around. In fact, double digits short. That's a big problem for him. Rogers lost Michigan by 0.3 of 1 point in 2024. If El-Sayed underperforms with traditional Democratic groups while Rogers holds the coalition together, the race moves several points his way. That's my call. I'm sticking with it even though the averages say otherwise. Let's move to Ohio. It's tougher. Right now, the Real Clear average has Sherrod Brown up by 0.5 point. Some aggregates are kinder to him. Fox had him up 8. The New York Times Siena poll I take seriously had Husted ahead. And I'm still predicting John Husted, 50.5 to Brown at about 48.5. Husted by 2. All right? Republican internals reportedly call it a dead heat, and anger over data centers and electricity rates is real. But Ohio's Republican baseline, it's strong. Trump carried that place by 11 points last time around, and Brown himself lost by 3.5. Brown is the kind of Democrat who can outperform his party, yet I believe the underlying movement toward Republicans eventually wins out. That's my number. Let's go to Alaska. Dan Sullivan, 51, Mary Peltola, 49, Sullivan +2. In Maine, I've been telling you, Susan Collins is going to win. Right now, I have her up +2, 51-49 over Troy Jackson. Collins has beaten the polls before nearly every single time, in fact. She won by nearly 9 points in 2020 when surveys said it was a nail-biter. Jackson came in late after the Plattner mess, so the current numbers feel less reliable to me. How about the House? Most models still favor Democrats. One quantitative forecast gives them a 70% chance and a median of around 225 seats. I'm not buying that. You're going to be surprised, but my call is Republicans 220 seats, Democrats 215. You see, redistricting improved the GOP position in more than a dozen districts. Even the more conservative analysis net Republicans about 5 seats and create an 8 or 9 seat cushion. Republicans only need 7 of the 19 toss-up seats. That's according to the Cook Political Report. There are 19 toss-up seats. Republicans only need 7 to hold the House. Democrats need 13. And when they nominate candidates well to the left of their districts, they can win the national popular vote and still fall far short of 218. The new map makes that problem worse. That's why I'm willing to go against the conventional forecast. How about the race for governor in Michigan? It's interesting to me because I'm here. I have a pure toss-up here. Benson by one. She's the Democrat, but that could change. I have her at 50-49 over John James today, but that could certainly change because of Abdul El-Sayed's outsized impact on Michigan. The most watched congressional seat in America, Michigan 7. I've got the Republican Tom Barrett +5. In the Texas Senate, we didn't get to that. I have Paxton +3. New Hampshire, the Democrat Pappas +4. North Carolina, the Democrat is going to be a pickup there for Roy Cooper. Under the scenario I'm tracking, the Senate sits at 53 Republicans. Those are my predictions, not the media's, not the modelers, mine. And most of them run contrary to current polling averages with the expert consensus. I'm comfortable with that. They've been wrong so many times before. Why wouldn't I be? Here's the key. Every one of those numbers gets stronger if we secure the elections. Clean rules, citizenship checks, dead voters removed. That doesn't just protect democracy, it benefits the Republicans. Because the other side cannot win a fair fight when the maps, the candidates, and the fundamentals are this favorable. So let's talk about the real battlefield. Election integrity. We'll start here in Michigan, my home state. All right? A whistleblower and the local sheriff have laid out something, well, pretty alarming for all to see. Here it is.
An employee of the Michigan Secretary of State's office reported to me that non-citizens are automatically registered to vote when they change their address. A confidential informant provided evidence that the customer and automotive record system is programmed to congratulate and inform non-citizens that they are registered to vote. When the confidential informant provided proof to her supervisor that non-citizens are automatically registered to vote, the supervisor stated that the county clerk would identify the non-citizenship status. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, this is not true. The county clerk has given access to the qualified voter roll after the Secretary of State registers a person to vote. The qualified voter roll does not designate a citizenship status. Once a person is registered to vote, they have the ability to receive a mail-in ballot or vote at the poll with their ID card. The polls do not verify citizenship status. My office has referred this matter for investigation to the United States Department of Justice.
And let's be honest about this. This is not a glitch. It is built into the system. And the same Secretary of State who oversees that system, Jocelyn Benson, wants to be the next governor here. Several local clerks are now doing their due diligence, sounding the alarm and asking for outside help because of what the sheriff said. It's true. Listen.
Hello, my name is David Olson, clerk at Hastings Charter Township in Barry County, Michigan. I am asking if the federal government is interested to help verify my citizen role. I would be welcome to have them here. I will safeguard my voter roll in the office, but they are certainly welcome to come and compare against mine. In this way, we will uphold our federal elections.
Hello, my name is Sarah DeBoer. I'm the clerk of Climax Township in Kalamazoo County, Michigan. Today I am joining with other clerks across the state of Michigan, calling for federal assistance in verifying the citizenship status of those on our voter rolls. Local clerks have zero ability to verify the citizenship status of anyone in the qualified voter files. So I am asking for federal...
And it goes on. They're asking for the help of the federal government to oversee the elections so that they are fair and honest. And if they are, Republicans win. Back after this. All right, let's pick back up. You just heard from two clerks in the same state in the same stretch of days, publicly inviting the federal government into their offices because the Secretary of State will not clean the rules. That is not normal. That is a crisis, and one that should have already grabbed the attention of Michigan's state government. Then there are the dead, which are apparently just as problematic as non-citizens. Listen to this Michigan representative's experience.
When I was a clerk at Martin Township, there was a family member who at one point was registered at my in-laws' home, and that family member had died nearly 20 years prior. They were put on the rolls at 2020. They were mailed voter application ballots without the authorization to do that. That's the local clerk's job. So I went in there, removed her from the voting rolls because I know firsthand this family member is dead and deceased. Just this past election cycle, lo and behold, that person was put back on the voter rolls and has a card of the early voting location polling that I actually have and can produce. And that's a problem.
And that's a problem. Tens of thousands of deceased registrants that have been identified, and sources say 95% are still marked as active. This state rep took one off in her own township and watched it reappear. Family members who died nearly 20 years ago are still generating mail-in applications. It's not an accident. It's a system that treats the dead as a resource. And when citizens try to fix the most basic problem, requiring proof of U.S. citizenship to vote, they're being held back. The Michigan Board of State Canvassers has blocked voters from voting on citizenship proof. Organizers in support submitted 709,000 plus signatures. The threshold was 446,000. They cleared the bar by 250,000 signatures or more, but the board still denied ballot access to a simple constitutional amendment that would have required voters to prove they are American citizens. That decision tells you everything about priorities in blue states in places like Lansing. Michigan is the clearest example because we live it every day. But this is not just a Michigan problem. Nevada's Secretary of State set out to try to smear President Trump, but seems to have admitted that the SAVE Act would prevent non-citizens in his state from voting. Here it is.
We have a federal government who clearly does not understand how elections works and just wants to tear it down, because what they're trying to do is exclude a certain portion of voters from actually participating. Look, they haven't delivered for the American people. They haven't delivered for Americans. You look at the cost of gas, you look at the cost of running a business, and those are significant. They are failing these voters every single day, and they are not going to follow them any longer. They want to change. They want to see people lead. They're tired of the chaos. And so the federal government can interfere in these elections is making these threats. ICE agents at the polls, non-citizens on the voter rolls, seizing ballot machines, seizing ballots. All that is something we know we have to prepare for.
Yeah. I'll remind you, his state was one of 4 reviewed where more than 270,000 non-citizens were found registered to vote. The pattern is the same. Officials know the problem exists and still resist the basic steps to fix it. Arizona's Secretary of State is proud of that fact. Listen to this.
Well, thanks for having me. And first, this fight isn't over. We have refused to hand over those voter rolls. And like 22 other states in the District of Columbia, the DOJ's prior illegal requests for sensitive data from voters has been denied by courts across the country, including by judges who were appointed by Donald Trump. So turning this information over to the federal government is now by law and adjudicated as not legal. And so we're not going to do it. Now,
when an official treats the voter rolls as a state secret, the only reasonable conclusion is that transparency would expose problems they would rather keep hidden from you. Why defend the presence of hundreds of thousands of non-citizens on the rolls if the rolls are clean? In Minnesota, Democrats literally voted not to remove deceased people from the voter rolls, which is a common sense measure as you can get. As detailed by this Minnesota representative who tried to get his colleagues just to pay attention and see the light. Here it is.
11.
I recognize a member from Olmsted, Representative Quam.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. This is just to require the full removal of deceased people from the voters' rolls. And if before you ask, well, nobody deceased is voting, the federal system at SSA has checked registrations and has flagged deceased people registering in the state of Minnesota. It's not a huge thing, but let's take care of it by cleaning up the roll. Oregon is doing it and other states are doing it, so it's not an unusual thing to do. Let's just vote green.
Democrats seem to need those names. Why? Because dead voters do not show up to correct the record. They simply sit there available. Across multiple states, the same tactics appear. Non-citizens auto-registered or left on the rolls, dead voters restored and mailed ballots, officials blocking citizenship verification and refusing to open the books. Secure elections raise confidence in legitimate turnout. They also let the structural advantages we already have, redistricting gains, candidate quality gaps, the 2024 baselines in states like Ohio and Michigan actually decide the races. We already have the better map in the House. We have the better candidates in the key Senate seats. We have the better fundamentals in the places that matter most. All we need is a fair count. They need the chaos. We just need the rules enforced. Secure the elections, and the predictions I've made become reality. Today's episode of Daybreak brought to you by PuroClean's Veterans Initiative. It's the PuroVet program. Veterans, if you're ready to be your own boss, join a trusted brand, serve your community in a new way. Find out more at 855-PuroVet or purovet.com. If you're a veteran, you get to the front of the line in the restoration and reclamation business. You can be at the front of the line. Turn your veterans experience into a new opportunity. 855-PuroVet or purovet.com. Nice to see you on a Thursday. This is Daybreak. $100 billion. This is why the idea that you tax the wealth of those worth $10 million or $100 million or $1 billion or whatever your number is a fool's errand. Elon Musk's SpaceX will build a spaceport along the golf course in Vermilion Parish. It will be capable of launching thousands of rockets annually. It'll create 10,000 jobs. It'll make Louisiana a global aerospace hub. Look, they've looked at the planet. They've looked at the best launch sites and the best places, and they picked Louisiana. Governor Jeff Landry, a guy I like, and economic development officials announced the deal Tuesday, saying the private company, which develops reusable launch systems and runs Starlink satellites, is going to invest $100 billion. 3,000 permanent jobs, 8,100 indirect jobs in that region. It's really more like 11 or 12,000 jobs. Pretty remarkable. Well done, Elon. AI can clone your voice, forge your signature, even create fake documents that fool experts, and criminals are using these tools right now to steal from you. This hour brought to you by Home Title Lock. It's called title fraud. Your property records are public by law. Your name, your address, even your signature, all sitting in a database that somebody can hack today. A cyber scammer pulls your records, uses AI to forge a transfer document, files it with your county, and on paper, They're the new legal owners of your property. Then they can borrow against your equity, even sell your property long before you realize anything is wrong. That's why I use Home Title Lock. They monitor my property's title 24/7. They will alert you of any changes, and if you're a victim, their team will restore your property with up to $1 million, making sure it's in your name. So when's the last time you checked your title records? I was asked that question first a couple of years ago. I said, I have no idea. You can check yours today. Use my promo code Gruber at HomeTitleLock.com. Get a free title history report plus a free trial of $1 million triple lock protection so you can make sure you're not already a victim. HomeTitleLock.com, promo code Gruber. Sleep easy tonight. HomeTitleLock.com, promo code is Gruber. When we come back, data centers. How much energy do they really need, and is it going to impact you and I? A straightforward, sober conversation with Gregory Wrightstone next. All right, the question of how you power data centers, because there are thousands proposed around the country. Obviously, they'll not all get approved. Some will be built, some will not. How do you power them? How much water do they take? What are the natural resources? What is the pressure on utilities and so forth? These are big questions that need answering. Gregory Wrightstone is a geologist and the senior fellow at the CO2 Coalition, Arlington, Virginia, best-selling author of A Very Convenient Warming, How Modest Warming and More CO2 Are Benefiting Humanity. Gregory, welcome back.
Oh, good to be back on with you. Yeah, there are a lot of questions about these data centers.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
And just tell me, I mean, are we going to use all this power? People are worried that their electricity is going to get drained down or their prices are going to go through the roof. Natural gas, obviously, we have a lot of that in America, in spades, in fact. We can use that to power data centers, but it would mean more production, more facilities, more infrastructure, right? So tell me what you think just looking at this.
Yeah, well, Donald Trump has dictated that if you're going to build an AI data center, you bring your own electricity. That's simpler said than done. There's a lot that goes into this. Let's take a look. If you're going to create electricity, what are your options? Coal-fired electric is wonderful, but you can only do it. These things are probably prohibitively expensive. They make a lot of electric, and you can power a lot of plants, but are probably not well suited for these data centers. So what are we looking at then? What are other options? Renewables. Are we going to power these with renewables? Heck no. They're not dense enough energy. In other words, they don't make enough gigawatts that are required for this, nor are they reliable. Steve, if you were going to have Gruber Data Center Incorporated was going to put up a center, you need electricity you can count on 24/7, reliable, abundant, affordable energy. And it's both wind doesn't blow all the time and solar stops actually, it's only really usable 30% of the day. So renewables really are out of the question. What are we left with? We're left with natural gas fired electric and nuclear, small modular reactors. And small modular reactors, we're probably a few years at least away from being able to produce these SMR nuclear reactors at scale. Maybe they could hustle it along, but it's not something that if Gruber Data Center Inc. is going to put one up and get it in operation by next August, it's definitely it's not an option. So now we're left with the natural gas fired electricity. And the good news is we've talked, question anybody that tells you they're an expert, but I have deep knowledge about natural gas in the United States, and the United States is the Goliath of the world when it comes to natural gas. We have so much energy, so much potential. Natural gas is really, really well suited for these AI data centers because we have pipelines crisscrossing the country, just about anywhere in the country, not everywhere, but a good percentage of the country. You're going to be able to get natural gas to your data center to fire your natural gas fired electric plant, unless you're in New England, and they don't have enough natural gas because New York's banned pipelines. So we can't get pipelines from this Goliath of the Marcellus Shale in Pennsylvania up into New England. But other than that, you could get lots of natural gas. That's the good news. And we have generations of natural gas sitting there and waiting to be developed in the ground. The bad news is to create electricity, you need turbines. If you're going to have a data center, GE Vernova is there are three main producers of these turbines, gas turbines.
Right.
GE Vernova is taking orders today for deliveries in 2031. Siemens has a 3-year backlog. There was another Mitsubishi. They're also a near 3-year backlog. So what I'm telling you is, the gas is there, but to make the electricity, it's nothing that's going to happen. They are producing turbines.
It reminds me of the jam we have with refineries and oil. We have the oil, we don't have the refining capacity to get that done. Same thing with rare earths. We have a refining problem in America, not a natural resource problem. We have a refining problem that was set up by the Green New Dealers, and we stopped building refineries. We stopped building refineries for rare earth or natural gas or getting oil and gas processed as well. But I do see a headline here I want to ask you about because this is important. The U.S. pulls ahead of China in building natural gas to power AI data centers. So we're actually
We
sitting
are.
in better shape than they are.
We are. But again, it's not to the scale that's needed. That's good news. That's really good news. But they need to. It's multiples of what's being built right now that are required. A lot of these companies are just overwhelmed with orders for these gas turbines, and so yes, we are building a lot of gas-fired electricity generation, just not enough. And so PGM is the largest interconnect in the United States, and they've just reported a huge backlog of what their requirements are for a stable uh, electric grid and things looking down the road. It's in my opinion it's problematic, and it's mainly because of this lack of the turbines. Some of these data centers are saying, well, we can't get the turbines, we're going to use engines, gas-fired engines, to do it instead of turbines. Two different ways to make it.
Yeah, very different.
But the engines are not very efficient compared to the turbines at all, and so it's going to drive up their costs a lot.
Sure.
And there's a lot of problems. And then if we look at electricity prices, people are saying, well, it's going to drive up electricity prices, but we really haven't seen that yet. The price runoff we've seen are in the blue states that have done huge amounts
Sure.
of renewables, California, New York, and the others.
Seems to me,
So-
Gregory, that maybe I should be investing in companies that build gas turbines. Maybe I should be investing in
Might
those
be.
guys. If you're backlogged for 3, 5, 7 years, sounds a good place to invest. Before I let you go, we got about a minute left here. What are all the data centers for, in your estimation? What are we building these for, really?
Well, it's I don't know if you use AI.
Sure.
I'm just getting I'm behind the times. I should use it more, and I'm going to, but I just haven't. Maybe I need AI to help me find the time to use AI. But I don't really understand the requirements. I guess the electricity is for running these centers, and that's not really my bailiwick as to how that all is done. But there's just this huge. I mean, everybody's using AI now. Not everybody, but just about everybody, and it's amazing what it can do for you.
Well, it is. I just wonder what it's all for. Maybe to follow people like you who write books that they don't like. I don't know, Gregory. Maybe.
Well, just think about what I did here today. I gave you deep. We could go on for another while here about
Sure.
how China, why America is. We've got the Goldilocks of the best shales in the world, and China is at the other end of the stick. They're not so well blessed with natural gas.
At least we're winning in one sector today. Gregory Wright-Stone, Senior Fellow, CO2 Coalition, Arlington. Sir, thank you as always.
Thank you so much.
Greatly appreciate it. When we come back, we'll talk about those investments. Maybe Nick Hopwood thinks that we should invest in gas turbine manufacturing. I don't know, but I'm going to ask him straight ahead on Daybreak. All right, no lazy money. That's what Nick Hopwood says, have no lazy money. Certified financial planner, founder and president of Peak Wealth Management. Nick joins me now. He's got a team there working for him. He's got advice for you, too. Nick, I don't know if you heard the last conversation, but apparently these companies making, natural gas generators and turbines have backlogs of 5 to 7 years. Man, that sounds like a place to invest in if these people are, got orders stacked up like that. Anyway, good morning to you.
Good morning. And Steve, we don't make blanket recommendations on the news programs, but I do think natural gas is a very interesting story, and I'll leave it at that.
All right, there you go. Something worth exploring with Nick on a private phone call after the program. $40 trillion in debt, that's also public, Nick. $40 trillion our national debt. We pay, $1.5 trillion in interest every year now as a company. Well, look, this was being predicted for years, and here we are. How does that impact me?
Well, yeah, it's a $2 trillion deficit. $40 trillion is the debt now, and rates are ticking up. In fact, Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, had to go out onto the bond market and buy some long-term treasuries to try and keep rates lower. So it's a nightmare. We've been complaining about it for decades, but the politicians have no political will to get anything done. What does it mean for you and I? Well, I think for now, Social Security is going to remain the same and Medicare will remain the same. But for the younger generation, they need to really look in the mirror and say, if Social Security is going to be reduced for me, and if Medicare is going to be reduced for me, what can I do now to plan for that? And it's no secret, Steve. It's simply you have to save and invest more and put that burden on your own shoulders in advance.
I keep reading that 2032 is the year that Social Security becomes insolvent. Look, it's always been a Ponzi scheme, the way I look at it. You take it from these people to pay those folks. It's a shell game. But the shell game is going to go bust here shortly. I mean, can they fix it? And $40 trillion of debt just keeps stacking up. Scott Bessent says he has basically some secret ideas how to reduce the debt. Well, that's all cute and all. But what's the real game plan?
Well, I'd like to hear those secret ideas immediately.
Yeah, me too.
I have little faith. But look at the Social Security. What we should have done in 2004 after the George W. Bush second election is implemented the private accounts like he was suggesting, and there was just no traction, sadly. Look at what the market has done since 2004. Your Social Security return on investment is less than inflation, and we could have had S&P 500 type returns with private accounts. So Social Security is a complete disaster. Meanwhile, Medicare, that's a great investment for you because you're going to pull $2 out for every $1 you put in. That's a great setup. The problem is it's too generous, and so that's going to have to change as well.
Yeah, and so, because who's getting that bill? Your kids, my kids, our grandkids. Here, send in $2. We'll get $4. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Why does it make sense to reconsider reducing your 401k contributions and putting them into a brokerage account?
Yeah, Steve, this is now truly a first world problem here, where some of our clients have done so well investing in their 401s and on their pre-tax basis that they have a couple of $1 million in the pre-tax side versus Roth and versus brokerage account. So they're kind of lopsided, if you will. And what we see is that if they get to age 75 with continued growth, they're going to have just a massive tax bomb for their required minimum distributions. And so what we're advising right now is to stop with maxing out the 401k, still get the match, and maybe you can max out doing a Roth, but redirect those pre-tax dollars into your brokerage account. This allows you optionality of early retirement, tax planning, Obamacare subsidies, avoiding IRMA. And in this case, for our client, we estimated a $500,000 reduced lifetime tax bill.
All right, so let's talk about a couple other things. Everybody has people that pass away. Not everybody gets an inheritance, but every now and then somebody gets a large inheritance and it's coming your way. Does that automatically mean people can retire early or step out of the workforce?
The answer is no. And we had a couple come to us last week in this situation where they were age 60, 62, and they thought they had to retire at 70 because they were not in great shape. All of a sudden, they get the inheritance lottery, $2 million land in their lap. And so emotionally, they think, oh, great, now we can retire at the end of the year. But they come and see us, which is the smart thing to do, and we evaluate the situation. Turns out $300,000 of gambling debt, plus a new car loan, plus a big home equity loan. We had to pay off $400,000 of bad debt, before that, the ink even dried on the inheritance. And so all of a sudden, you're looking at this $2 million, you got 1.6 left, and then 700,000 of that is a beneficiary IRA. That's not worth 700,000, Steve. That's pre-tax money. In addition, if you want to retire before 65, now we're dealing with, these Obamacare subsidies.
Sure.
These people thought that they had their golden ticket, but instead they're going to have to work till 65. So just imagine that emotional
roller coaster.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, you're sitting lakeside this morning. Your roller coaster seems to be settled in pretty nicely today, Nick. I'll tell you that. Look, if you want some advice from Nick where he can actually give you some and not have to give a disclaimer, you should get a hold of him. Peak Wealth Management, peakwm.com/Gruber. You can get a free Social Security evaluation. You can get to know Nick a little bit like I know him. Good man. And he can help you out with questions and concerns and talk you through things like what he just described with an inheritance. peakwm.com/Gruber. Nick, nice to see you on a Thursday.
Beautiful sunrise, Steve. Good to see you too.
There you have it. I'll take a break and be back. This is Daybreak. All right. you saw the flooding in Nepal. Just bizarre to me. I mean, here's a town, it's kind of doing its thing, whatever. I saw 2 different videos that were just mind-blowing. And so all this water had broken loose from glaciers up in the mountains and also come down. It's a 50-foot wall of water. Maybe it was bigger. It was wild. A few hundred people apparently dead. But not reserved to Nepal. 11 visitors are trapped in Bryce Canyon National Park, Utah right now because of flash flooding. Bryce Canyon, beautiful place. I've been there. I love national parks. Heavy rain came through the area. The hikers, all adults traveling in 4 separate groups, became trapped earlier this week. Floodwaters affecting several popular trails. None of the hikers got caught up in the water, thankfully. But the conditions left the groups unable to continue. About 20 members of the county search and rescue team, emergency medical services, National Park Service, all responding to help those stranded visitors get out of there. Look, it's interesting to me because Ivy and myself, the kids, we've been to a lot of national parks, and one of the things we like to do is go on pretty extensive hikes, depending on what park we're in and how much time we have. I could see us caught in that situation, is my point. Thankfully, we weren't, and apparently these folks all got out. But crazy. Bryce Canyon had warned visitors earlier this month about potential flash flooding, trail washouts, debris-filled waterfalls, rock falls. Weather in the park can shift quickly, says the National Park Service. Of course, again, it's the mountains. Storms can come quickly. I know. I've experienced some pretty wild storms in mountains from Alaska to Montana and beyond. So, anyhow, glad to know that they're all good. And no, it's not climate change. It's just the way it is. Don't forget to send me emails, stevegruber.com. I want to know what's going on politically in your world. What's going on in your world personally. I'll listen to anything. And don't forget, tomorrow's Free Speech, Free for All Friday. You don't want to miss that. Your chance to call in and have a conversation with me. Pose questions. Tell me I'm great. Tell me I'm awful. Whatever you'd like. More Daybreak after this.
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now on Real America's Voice.
All right, welcome back to it on a Thursday. Nice to see you here today. Glad to have you on board as we roll through this wonderful day, continuing to fight for you from the foxhole of freedom. Here are three big things you need to know this hour. Number one, an unlicensed surgeon known as Dr. Frankenstein from Miami, on the run apparently after facing numerous charges following a number of botched surgeries. You see, he wasn't a real doctor. Number two, a Democrat that assaulted ICE agents at a federal facility being bound over for trial. Another big win for the Trump administration, and holding people responsible for their actions. That's the way it should be. And number three, business in America. Apparently businesses, as you've noticed, this flock of people leaving New York, headed for Florida, and leaving Illinois and headed for Texas or whatever, businesses not buying the blue state model. In fact, quite the opposite. I want to share what that means for a company you've probably heard of. Ivy is here. Good morning, Ivy.
Good morning.
May I share this with you? Because this is very telling to me. Because I think one of the hottest brands in America currently is Buc-ee's, right?
Uh-huh.
I've only been to one once, I think, and that was in Georgia.
I've never been to a Buc-ee's.
Oh, they have like 100 gas pumps. They've got, food like you've never seen for as far as the eye can see. It's just gluttonous.
Okay.
It is. But that's why all the soccer fans from Europe and so forth are like, my God, have you been to Buc-ee's? I was prohibited years ago from eating at gas stations by, you.
Me.
Yeah, you. I was prohibited from eating food from gas stations. Anyhow, Anthony, go ahead and roll that.
When you find a conservative, business-friendly state with a phenomenal workforce, it makes a difference. And I'm starting to realize life's too short to try to build in places that people don't appreciate what you're bringing versus a place like this where people do appreciate what you're building.
That is CEO Arch Applin III. That was posted by Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders in the state of Arkansas, where they're building a Buc-ee's. They're building like 15 new ones right now. Mm-hmm. They're not building in Illinois. They're not building in New York. And sadly, they're not building in Michigan either. Blue states. I mean, that only makes sense, right?
It does. Well, when you have business-friendly states, you're going to have a lot more people that are going to invest in those states, build their companies. So that just makes complete sense, whether it's you're going to be taxed into oblivion, or you have a tremendous amount of red tape and regulation. Those two things are barriers to entry for any state when it comes to businesses. So
yeah, and that's why people are fleeing. It just makes
common sense that they would go to, business-friendly
Absolutely.
states.
Red states. Anyhow, so that's why New York is having a net negative migration to places like Florida. I mean, they're just out the door. California, net negative migration, out the door. People are like, look, California has the best weather in the world. We love California when we've been there.
It's a beautiful state. It's a gorgeous state. I love the weather. I love the national parks.
The Napa Valley.
The Napa Valley. The beaches are cool.
Yeah.
Restaurants are great. I mean, it's just that the politics are terrible.
Speaking of that, we were just talking about this. I've got to go verify this, but I was told, and I think people have heard about this, Nashville, run by a Democrat mayor, has just imposed a 35% tax on beer, food, everything in their downtown district, right?
Right. Well, we had some, business partners that were down there a few weeks ago. And they said that everything was like quadruple the price because you have this 30% tax increase. 35% tax increase just in that area.
The social district, they call it.
Social district,
yeah, like a lot of cities have.
Well, I think there's some infrastructure that they want to do there, and so they're just imposing it on the people that are coming in and enjoying the bars and restaurants and whatever. And so it's a pretty high tax.
Yeah.
A lot of people are having sticker shock as they go like, my drink costs $25 for, say, a vodka soda or something like that. Anyhow.
Let's see. Relief for power grab, and I'm going to get these numbers figured out. The first thing said that's not true. However, there have been discussions about various taxes related to tourism, including hotel occupancy taxes to help fund local services. Nobody's going to come be a tourist if you stick it right in their eye.
Right.
I mean, come on, people. People are fleeing to Tennessee. It's one of the states that people are going to because there's no income tax and so forth. But Nashville, I love Nashville.
You know, I've only been there one time, but I love live music, so it's always a good place to be.
Yeah, don't kill it.
That's true.
Please don't kill it. Anyhow, what else you got today?
Actually, I wanted to ask you, I had a couple things, but we didn't talk about this yesterday in terms of the other primaries that occurred. What's your outlook based on the primary results yesterday?
From Tuesday.
Tuesday.
The runoff
Thursday?
in South Carolina for the Senate, of course, Senator Nordine Graham beat Ralph Norman. I didn't see what the final
Which a
spread
lot of people
was.
are raising eyebrows about that, aren't they? Because she has not really been in politics before. Not that that necessarily matters, but Ralph Norman being a long-time
Congressman.
yeah.
Look, I don't know how she's going to stack up, but she got the Trump endorsement. She was endorsed by the governor, the sitting senator there, and everybody else. Ralph Norman got some endorsements, but not enough to overcome that. He won the entire northern part of South Carolina. She won the rest.
So what's on the docket for him going forward? Is he?
I think he stays in Congress.
Okay.
I think he just stays where he is, representing Rock Hill, South Carolina 5, I think is where he is. But I gave my predictions for the elections this morning, and I run against the grain like usual. But I believe the Republicans are going to win Michigan in the U.S. Senate races. Michigan, Maine, Texas, Ohio, and Alaska, and lose North Carolina and Georgia. That means the Republicans will be at 53 seats in the Senate when the dust clears. That's good to protect the Supreme Court, of course.
So you think that Graham won't prevail there?
Oh, no, she'll win.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, she's an automatic. There's only a handful of contested Senate seats, and those are the way I see those.
I gotcha.
And I'm also going to go against the grain and say the Republicans will control the House because of redistricting will give them help. And there are 19 toss-up seats according to Cook's political report, and they lean left, right? 19 toss-up seats total in the House, which is remarkably low. Republicans only need 7 to hang on to the majority. 7 out of 19.
There you go.
So we'll see what happens. But
We'll see
that's
what
my
happens.
prediction here on August the 27th or whatever today is.
Before we run out of time, I want to talk about that Brazilian man known as Dr. Frankenstein. He's an unlicensed plastic surgeon in Miami. And he's on the run after he faces 14 criminal charges, 13 of them felonies, including practicing medicine without a license, fraud and theft-related charges.
What kind of surgeries was he doing?
I want to tell you this. While awaiting trial, he surrendered his passport and was under house arrest with an ankle monitor. 3 days before he scheduled his trial, the tamper alert went off and he's missing.
Cut and
but
run.
At one point, Steve, the allegations against him include serious injuries. One patient told investigators she went to Dr. Frankenstein for lip and jaw filler and was allegedly injected with 17 bottles of filler in one sitting.
Lord.
17.
Yeah, that's criminal.
It created lumps in her lips, jaw, cheekbone. She had to go and get all of this stuff removed and get treated for it. But
that's terrible.
Yeah, all sorts of just laser facelifts and things like
Lord.
that. The thing I don't understand is he was giving speeches and he was
how does a guy get to that? I'm right up against it. How does he get to that? I don't know.
I don't know. That's
Love
crazy.
you.
Love you.
All right, I drink a lot of coffee and some tea as well. And no matter what I'm drinking, I want it to be the best. I'm kind of a snob when it comes to these things. And that's why I want to talk to Mike Britton. He's the co-founder of Artillery Tea. If you're going to have tea, why not have the best? Mike, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Steve.
Nice to have you here. All right, so people that have never heard of you before, tell us, why is Artillery Tea different than anything else out there?
Yeah, first of all, Steve, we lean with mission first at our company. We started this because coffee started messing with us, keeping us up late at night, giving us insomnia and that sort of thing. And so we wanted to switch over to tea, which has, a good energy profile, but doesn't give you the jitters like coffee does.
And that's a fair point.
Problem was when we went out to look for another tea company, we're like you, we want values first, right? But there was nobody out there doing any kind of patriotic, conservative tea brand that supports veterans and first responders. And so that's how this company was born. We wanted to have a quality premium product that also did some good too. And so we leaned into that. We were able to support disabled veterans with service dogs last year. Another nonprofit we work with helps them with emergency expenses like rent, utilities, and things like that. So we've been able to make a real difference in the lives of veterans already. And then on top of that, we're more aligned with the MAHA movement. And so we wanted a tea product that was only organic ingredients, was real tea, meaning the whole leaves, not the tea dust and tea phenols that you find in the grocery store with the big box brands. And then the tea bags too usually are made with plastic, bleach paper, some a chemical called ECH, which they also use in insect fumigation, just filled with nasty stuff. And so our sachets too, our tea bags are plant-based, don't have any plastic, any harsh chemicals in them. And then our leaves are real tea, whole leaf, and we use only organic ingredients.
In fact, you've told me previously that when you buy a tea bag from the local grocery store, you think you're getting a good product, it's a brand name, whatever. It's like what they sweep off the floor. It's like the lowest quality you can possibly imagine. I found that shocking, but that's basically what you told me, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So when they produce the whole leaves that we use, the stuff that literally falls through the cracks, the little dust particles, that's what they put into the tea bags in the big box stores. And so the tea with them has less nutritional profile. It tastes different. It's way more bitter than tea actually tastes naturally. And so with our tea, you're getting the real flavor of the actual plant itself. And so our flavor is more bold, it's more punchy, and it's less bitter than the.
Fair enough. Did we lose him there a little bit? It's all right. I'll continue on. There he is. All right, so you've got a brand new product designed for people that have never tried your product before. What is the product and what's included?
We put together this product called the Patriot Starter Kit. And this is designed for people that maybe haven't tried Artillery Tea before or have tried us, but maybe didn't have like a full flavor experience to try multiple flavors. And so we wanted a kit that would be a lower cost entry to try things out and get you the full flavor experience that we have to offer. So I put 5 sample packs of our top 5 flavors in this kit. Each sample pack gives you 6 servings each of tea. So it's 30 servings total of tea. And you'll also get a note card in there that shows you how to brew the tea. We have black tea, green tea, and herbal teas. Since we use real tea, it brews a little differently than grocery store tea and even than coffee. And so you need different brew times, different brew temperatures. So we created this all-in-one kit that'll help you get maximum flavor out of our product and give you the full flavor experience of what real tea is actually supposed to taste like. There's also a custom sticker in the box too. And so
Very nice.
Just one kit, one-stop shop, everything you need to try everything at a low cost. Normally we offer it for $72, but for a limited time, we're offering it for $29.95, and we're going to add free shipping into that too.
$29.95, free shipping for your Artillery Tea Patriot Starter Kit. Kind of hard to beat. Can't beat that with a stick. So tell folks, where do they go to get this ordered?
You can go to artillerytco.com, check out our bundles page, or you can just scan the QR code that's on your screen here. It'll take you right to the Patriot Starter Kit.
artillerytco.com, or right there, the QR code. Very easy to do, $29.95. Usually a $72 charge on something like this. It's the Patriot Starter Kit from my friend Mike Britton at Artillery T. Mike, thank you for being here. I wish you the very best, and thank you for all you do for all those special groups.
Awesome. Thanks for that, Steve. Appreciate you having me back on again.
Appreciate seeing you today. You know, we like to partner with companies that give back to this thing we call America, and it's really important. We like companies that do it here in America, do the best they can, work hard, pursue the American dream. And when they saw a need, that was the beauty of this company. When they saw a need because there wasn't something that fit what they were looking for, they decided to create it themselves. So that's kind of a big deal. And I tip my hat to Mike Britton, Artillery T. As I talked about earlier in the program, 23 states now, attorneys general in 23 states, suing the United States Postal Service over this new rule put in place by the Trump administration that if you're going to have a mail-in ballot, you actually have to show some evidence that you're an eligible voter. Seems like common sense to me. Seems like the right thing to do, actually. But 23 AGs are fighting it. Why would that be? Midterms are coming. Don't you think the people that mail in ballots should know that they have the right to vote? Don't you think those that are counting the votes should know that the ballots that they're going through are legitimate? Makes sense to me, but not for the AGs. The suit follows the Supreme Court's ruling Monday to allow, at least for now, President Trump's executive order on mail-in ballots that would require proof, and that the U.S. Postal Service could only send ballots out to verified voters. You know, it's this common sense thing that seems to trip people up a little bit too often. I'll take a break and be back right here on Daybreak. Well, a federal judge appointed by the former President Joe Biden, siding with the Trump administration, refusing to dismiss a case against a House Democrat who was caught on tape assaulting federal immigration officers. Two of the three judges in the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Third Circuit refused to dismiss the Department of Justice case against LaMonica McIver. It comes from a 2025 incident in Newark, New Jersey. An unannounced visit to Delaney Hall Detention Center by a group of Democratic officials turned into chaos, to be kind. And it culminated in a physical standoff between federal lawmakers and ICE agents in the arrest of the mayor of Newark, Ras Baraka. McIver was charged with 3 counts, including assaulting and impeding federal officers, and the appeals court says, yeah, it gets to go forward. She attempted to get the case thrown out. She also accused the DOJ of unfairly singling her out. But the video is the video. And the video is pretty damning, I guess. The decision made by Biden-appointed Judge Cindy Chung and Trump-appointed Judge Stefanos Bibas stated that McIver's argument of legislative immunity would not stand for 2 of the 3 counts, while the 3rd count was set back to a lower court for further review. Accountability. Actions have consequences. At least they should. And in this case, apparently, for once, they do. Did you know that most people do not get enough DHA, the key nutrient your brain relies on for memory and focus? DHA is necessary for healthy brain function and may help support heart health and metabolic health, too. In fact, inadequate DHA levels in the brain have been linked to Alzheimer's disease. The good news is that Longevity contains 180 milligrams DHA and 250 milligrams omega-3 oils per serving. Longevity. We use it every day in this house. It's a complete nutritional support shake that gives you everything you need to age well. 8 to 80, I don't care. It's good for you. And it comes from the garden, not the laboratory. Go to longevitywellness.co. Enter the promo code Gruber at checkout for a special discount. Longevitywellness.co. The promo code is Gruber at checkout. You'll get a special discount. And then send me an email. I love it when I get emails from folks that use products that endorse this program, that are our partners here, and support the program. Longevity, this hour's sponsor, along with Artillery Tea. We'll take a break on Daybreak. All right, my day wouldn't be complete if I didn't talk about Abdul El Sayed and Hassan Piker. They have become the focus of the conversations around the midterms more than, well, just about anybody else. There's reason for that. Hassan Piker is a hateful individual. He's anti-Semitic. He apparently hates blacks and black voters, doesn't care about their priorities. I don't think he likes interracial marriage from what I've discerned from his comments. It just seems to me that these folks are hateful. And Hassan is working closely with El Sayed, despite the fact that Sayed says, well, I don't believe that. Let me tell you something. You are who you surround yourself with. Birds of a feather. It's an old saying that means a lot, especially in politics. Listen to this.
There are going to be a lot of people who are already questioning Abdul El Sayed's sincerity on these issues that will then turn around and say, he's moderating his position on Israel, all this stuff. I don't think he is. Okay, I will say this. I am literally the person that is being dangled, and I'm going to tell you once again, he's not moderating on his perspective on Israel or anything like that. Okay, his reaction to this has always been very good, which is, look, I deal with people that I don't fully agree with and don't fully subscribe to on a daily basis. This is politics. Politics is about addition, not subtraction, right? It's smart. It's the right way to deal with it and then deflect back to the issues because they are the ones who are engaging in the deflection. Okay?
Yeah. He stands with his beliefs. He stands with me, says Hassan Piker about Abdul El Sayed. He's not moderating on anything. And I didn't think he was, which is why I believe Mike Rogers wins between 5 and 8 points come November 3rd, if it becomes especially ugly. And I don't know that the Democrats or the DCCC are going to put much money into this race, or the DNC. I don't know if they're going to put much money into this race because mainstream Democrats don't want this guy around. You've heard it time and time again. And Abdul wants to cripple American energy. He's trying to reel that back in. So let's do a little compare and contrast of what he has said about energy, what he's saying now, and what he has always said about energy. Go ahead.
Look, I'm not going to defend the Green New Deal. I talk about the Green New Deal. The Green New Deal. The Green New Deal. It's extremely powerful and ought to be harnessed and invested in.
It is a critical framework for thinking about how to solve climate change, infrastructure, and racism at the same time.
If we want to solve the real challenge of economic instability, then the Green New Deal does that. Look, I'm not going to defend the Green New Deal.
The Green New Deal posits that if we're serious about taking on climate change, we need to rethink our economy around building green infrastructure.
A Green New Deal that helps us address climate change, as I think is critical. And I want you to think about what the Green New Deal is. It is an interlocking system of solutions to an interlocking system of problems. Making Detroit the engine of the Green New Deal, to me, recognizes that as Detroit goes, America goes.
And that's an ad that just dropped from one of the PACs against Abdul El Sayed on social media. Loves the Green New Deal, but now he doesn't like the Green New Deal. Okay, this whole flip-flopping back and forth nonsense, enough already. All right, enough. And the problem for other Democrats is basically all Democrats now across this country. Because Hassan Piker was in Maine campaigning. He's been in Michigan campaigning. He's been in Minnesota campaigning. He's been all over the country campaigning with left-wing candidates, which means all Democrat candidates now have to answer for Abdul El Sayed and his extreme views and Hassan Piker and his extreme views, and you can't dodge it. Hillary Scholten is a member of Congress from West Michigan. She's in one of those races that could go either way, okay? And she's feeling the heat and the blowback from Abdul and Hassan Piker, and she has to defend herself at a town hall meeting. Listen to this.
There aren't many speaking out against Abdul. Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say I'm speaking out against him. I have spoken out against Hassan Piker pretty clearly, and
during the primary you didn't speak out against him?
Well, I supported Haley Stevens, and I think I made the reasons clear why I did. But I think that the larger issue is that I'm out here supporting Democrats. I've been all over the state and the Midwest helping candidates to flip tough seats just like I did. And any conversation about that is just a detraction from the real positive work that I am doing.
It's not a distraction when a U.S. Senate candidate and other mainline Democrat candidates, whether they're from the DSA, but they've won primaries, all right? It is not a distraction when these people are front and center. It becomes the conversation. And as a result of this, here in Michigan where I live, black voters supported El-Sayed 75%. Democrats need that number to be about 88, 89, 90% to win an election statewide in Michigan. So he's underperforming dramatically with black voters in places like Wayne and Oakland counties, pivotal counties when it comes to the state of Michigan. That's Detroit, and that's the Detroit suburbs, right? If you can't get support from black voters there, you're in real trouble. And now the question is, will Abdul El-Sayed and his relationship with Hassan Piker and the whole package be a drain and a drag on other Democrat candidates? Here's an ad put out against Jocelyn Benson, the Democrat nominee for governor in the state of Michigan. Listen to this.
Abdul El-Sayed and the Socialists have taken over Michigan's Democratic Party. Jocelyn Benson is following his lead. Benson supported a massive $3,000 tax hike on working families. She served on the board of directors of a left-wing group they called cops racists and wanted to defund our police. This is not Gretchen Whitmer's Democratic Party. It's far more liberal and extreme. And Jocelyn Benson is marching to their radical drumbeat.
Pretty good ad, actually, I think. Marching to that radical drumbeat is Jocelyn Benson. Goose-stepping right in line with the rest of them. And she's also refusing to clean their voter rolls in Michigan. She's currently the Secretary of State. She won't clean the voter rolls, even though it's required by the Michigan Constitution, voted in by the people of Michigan to make sure we have trustworthy elections. And she's refusing. You surprised? Me either. What I'm not surprised about is the quality of the Ghost Bed. Sponsoring this hour, Ghost Bed. Made in America, and the best sleep I have ever had. 3 days, I'm on a run here, folks. 3 days in a row, I've gotten double crowns for my Aura Ring, which means my readiness and my sleep are first class. I'm getting great sleep from this American-made treasure, the Ghost Bed. You can try it for 101 days. You can try all the technology, all the patented items, all the great things that make the Ghost Bed an exceptional product. You can try it for 101 days risk-free, because if you truly don't like it, you can call them and say, I don't want it, and they'll come pick it up and take it away. No charge, no risk, no problem. Ghostbed.com/Gruber, promo code Gruber. Try this bed, and then send me an email and tell me how much you love it, like Ivy and I do. All right? Ghostbed.com/Gruber. Promo code is Gruber. Back after this. What is the state of the situation in Iran? You know, it comes into the headlines and then it kind of vanishes for a while lately. Makes me wonder where we are and whether or not this is going to resolve itself, if we'll find a peace deal, or if the IRGC and others will continue to perpetuate the violence in the Middle East, if the Strait of Hormuz will continue to be targeted by random attacks. Salah Bayazidi is the U.S. representative of the Kamala Party of Iranian Kurdistan. Salah, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for being here. All right, so what is the situation today in your estimation? It's fairly quiet. There's this economic D-Day that was started by Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, but where are we?
Oh, you know, as you know, after we passed the 40 days war, this war seemingly been stalled. We had a process of some limited military confrontation between two sides. We signed MOU. Then other parties try to bring both U.S. and Iran close to each other. You know, then everything seemingly become over the Strait of Hormuz. You know, Strait of Hormuz is choking the economy of the world 21-22%. So seemingly we don't know where we heading. You know, what's the strategy? There is a lot of rumors. You know, Iranian want to keep while there are massive pressure. They are betting what the U.S. is heading to midterm election, inflation, so other things. But we should wait to see which party eventually give in. While Iranian they are mass, you know, they lost their leaders, top leaders, the top military leaders. Khamenei is gone. They are you know, they cannot sell the oil. So we should wait and see how it's gonna end.
Let's look at oil prices at this hour. $82 for West Texas Intermediate, Brent crude at 88, lower than it's been in a while. But gas prices are stubborn in the United States. Consumers here don't like that. But on the other side of that coin is making sure that the regime in Tehran doesn't have nuclear weapons. Where do you stand on that, Salah?
Yes, as you said, you know, it's lower than expected because in case the Strait of Hormuz totally closed, there was prediction the oil be over $200, between $150-$200. But now, seemingly, somehow, as the U.S. administration said, some part of the Strait of Hormuz they're under control. They are, you know, it's under, I think, something between in these days between 60 to 80% of its capacity, Strait of Hormuz. So, is the price seemingly, you know? Honestly, the price is lower. It's good as that range. Maybe it's not perfect, but it's not that much bad. But we should wait and see. And I don't have hope really that resulted, because this regime, the survival of this Iranian regime, after I said lost its top leaders, you know, the survival there are for them is a winning. You know, they call themselves victorious.
So here's the real question, Salah. I've watched this for almost 50 years. I remember when Tehran fell in 1979, and I watched the American hostages, and I've watched it ever since. What are the real chances we can find a deal here with the IRGC or whoever's running Iran currently? Do you think that it's a real possibility, or will they just fight until the last man standing?
You know, we should, our American audience understand this conflict did not start on February 28, 2026. Epic Fury was not beginning of this conflict. This Iranian regime, as you said, started this conflict with the just day after the revolution, took hostage U.S. diplomats, 444 days. Then they are behind killing American Marines in Lebanon, 1983. They've been behind every terrorist attack against the U.S. and Western countries around the world. You know, in Iraq conflict, just Secretary Pompeo said Iranian behind the killing 603 Americans. So this regime has they are lunatic people, you know. They're not even North Korea. They are not even Soviet Union at the time. These people, they want to, based on their ideology, they want to rule the world and region. I have very less hope, you know. We reach some agreement with this regime. Even they sign agreement. They want to just, you know, prepare for the next round.
And when you say the next round, I mean, can we get there or not? Can we find an agreement that will hold, like the memorandum of understanding? Can we find an agreement that works, or do you believe that that's out of reach?
You know, we signed 2015 JCPOA. You know, it was very generous offer. You know, we give them, you know, billions dollars cash. International companies, they hope they can invest inside Iran. And so they were given the world about 11 years ago. But what happened to those monies? You know, those money were spent to arm Hezbollah, you know, create October 7th. They armed them Houthis, you know, Hashd al-Sha'bi in Iraq. So all those ambitious plan of the Shia ideology, I honestly, I wish there was a hope, but I don't think there's a hope seemingly at the short term for any resolving this conflict.
Well, we sit here and watch every day, Salah. We hope for a positive outcome, but you just have to sit and wonder. Thank you for being here. Greatly appreciate your insights today.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. I'd like to see it end. I don't know if it's going to anytime soon. My optimism is medium at best. Medium at best. I'll take a break and be back on Daybreak. All right, time to check in on sports now with Brock Palmbush.
With a look at sports, I'm Brock Palmbush. A full schedule of games in Major League Baseball yesterday. American League winners included Tampa Bay, the Chicago White Sox, and the Athletics. National League winners included Philadelphia, Milwaukee, and San Diego. Cleveland defeated the LA Angels 4-3 for their 7th win in a row, but Kansas City fell to Toronto 3-0 to see their 9-game winning streak get snapped. In the WNBA, Golden State walloped Connecticut 89-64, and Seattle got past Toronto 90-78. 4 more games at the Little League World Series yesterday in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. In the winners bracket, Curacao blew out Nicaragua 12-3, while Nevada ripped Iowa 14-6. In elimination games, Japan beat Canada 7-3, and Ohio crushed Alabama 11-2. And the National Football League eliminated the Pro Bowl games yesterday, but the league will still honor 88 players as Pro Bowlers coming up in late December. That's a look at sports. Back to you, Steve.
No Pro Bowl? You mean they didn't really play to begin with, Brock?
No, remember they got rid of the game, about 5-6 years ago since COVID. So they got together in Orlando, Florida, and were playing like dodgeball and flag football and like other skills competition type things, but players don't even want to do that anymore. So, which is understandable, I guess.
I guess.
Season.
I guess.
So they're just going to honor them. I guess between the conference championship games and the Super Bowl, they'll do a ceremony or something and honor all 88 of them.
Yeah. College football. Any big games this weekend?
Well, there's 8 games coming up on Saturday. There's, I guess the big one is in Dublin, Ireland. TCU against North Carolina.
Dublin, Ireland. America continues to try to push out football.
Yep.
They have some success, don't they?
Some success, yeah. I mean, especially in the NFL, they're playing more than 10 international games this year. And, they're trying to make it the biggest league in the world. They're trying, anyway.
Well, they're the biggest league in this country, that's for sure. Right?
No, without question.
You're not even close. All right, Brock. TCU and what'd you say?
North Carolina.
And who do you got in that game? I'll take the Frogs.
I think I picked TCU.
Yeah, I'll take the Frogs.
Yep.
College football Saturdays are back.
Week 0, Steve.
What's
Week
that?
0.
Yeah. God bless America. Greatest game ever invented, no matter how they try to screw it up, and they do. More Daybreak after this.
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now.
All right, and welcome back to it as we continue the conversation. The price of oil, number one on our big three this morning. The price of oil just under $90 for Brent crude. Thank you for the whiplash slash. Number two, the death toll in Nepal, unknown at this point. Been sitting here watching the videos. They are horrendous. Horrendous, to say the least. I mean, just gut-wrenching. Bodies strewn. It's unfathomable. And number three, let's start this hour with the trade war with Canada that nobody wanted. You know, I spoke at length last week with the United States ambassador to Canada who said he let me know we got a deal. Got a trade deal. It's a good one. Everybody's happy. It's good for all sides. It's good for Canada. It's good for the United States. Especially good for American farmers who have been getting drilled by these terrible Canadian tariffs. 200, 300%. And then instead of signing it, Mark Carney, the socialist prime minister of Canada, sank the whole deal. So I was watching a video yesterday of these flower producers. I didn't realize that the province of Ontario has like 250 flower farms, right? Fresh flowers. The majority of which go where? The United States. They go daily. Flowers are delivered usually within 24 hours of the time they're cut. Stems are called. So these places produce millions of stems for florists and such, right? Well, there's going to be a 50% tariff on those imported flowers. These companies certainly cannot survive. It's economic suicide for businesses in Canada. Economic suicide for a lot of these businesses. 250 flower farms in Ontario facing 50% tariffs that they cannot possibly overcome. It will destroy Canadian lives, not American lives. In fact, Peter Navarro lays out the case of the trade issues with Canada in this comment. Listen.
Your country screws us. Look at your dairy tariffs alone. Just start with your dairy tariffs. You're basically lumber. You do that to us. You're like with aluminum. You're in bed with the Chinese and playing games with us there. Steel's no that great. And by the way, Canada, you talk a really good game. You don't spend much of a dime on your own defense. You're basically a free rider under the American umbrella. So this attitude, I mean, that's the liberal Ontario attitude. Oh, we're the bully. Oh, let's stand up to the bully. And you don't have any self-reflection, madam.
No self-reflection at all. Mark Carney he's going to destroy Canadian businesses. And here's the other thing in Canada right now. Would you spend a nickel to buy a house, to buy a car, to invest in anything? Would you buy anything if you lived in Canada right now? I wouldn't. I wouldn't buy anything. It would be foolish, to say the least. All right, if you missed it yesterday, it was the 5-year anniversary of the botched withdrawal from Afghanistan. The Abbey Gate disaster, where 13 U.S. military personnel were killed by a suicide bomber. 13 died that did not need to die because of Joe Biden's botched withdrawal from Afghanistan. A dark stain on American history. A dark stain on the Biden administration, my belief. Well, now there's a deep dive going on into the botched withdrawal that cost 13 military personnel their lives. Sean Parnell investigating and saying they're finding all sorts of classified information about that debacle, that disaster that we've never heard of before. Pretty important stuff, actually. Here's what he said.
We are conducting a thorough review of what took place in Afghanistan, and I'm going to be honest with you about what that's turning up. The deeper we look, the more there is to look at. we are finding things that we did not expect. Recently, my team recovered highly relevant classified documents, material that should have been disclosed, stashed, and hidden away in safes where they would not be found. And after the team reviewed these documents, it became clear why someone tried to hide them. I'm not going to give you a convenient version of the truth, nor will I give you a rushed one. Here is my commitment. We are following the evidence to wherever it leads and to whoever it touches. We're not accepting incomplete or comfortable answers. The American people and the families who sacrificed everything are owed the full picture of how and why those decisions were made, and we're going to give it to them.
There you go. Pretty remarkable, to say the least. Pretty remarkable, to say the least. Finding stuff locked in safes. It was supposed to be hidden, like a burn bag. Sound familiar? Yes, it does. Let's see here. Let's end on something positive, shall we? Let's go to Elon Musk on the ground. It's Byte 14, Anthony. Elon Musk on the ground in Louisiana, where they'll be able to launch hundreds of rockets a year. And he was there with the governor of Louisiana, Jeff Landry, and others, talking about the future of space exploration, travel, and colonization, potentially. Here it is.
What do you think?
Great. Yeah, it seems perfect.
This road basically, so this all serviced offshore oil and gas, right? Since like the 1950s, and this used to be what they call Freshwater City, and so that's where the old dock space was, and so that's kind of the bones of what you're seeing.
This place will truly change the world. At what point does civilization get to know a life in the stars?
Yeah.
You can't do that launching.
You need serious tonnage. See the serious tonnage, or
scale.
If you want to go out there and make life multiplanetary and not just be a tourist, send a few people and come back, and if you want to go there and actually build a self-growing civilization, you need serious tonnage. We're going to bring, I think, probably north of 10,000 really exciting jobs to Louisiana, and it's kind of jobs that are so exciting you can't wait to go to work in the morning. Right. It's super inspiring, and we believe in having a really fun work environment, and it's hard to beat rockets, frankly.
There you go.
Would you go to space, Steve?
I would.
Free flight to space, you would go?
100%.
Really?
Yep, 100%.
Okay.
You?
Yeah, probably.
Heck yeah, you would. That's a bottle rocket you're climbing aboard, son.
Yeah, I'm getting up there.
Light that fuse. Anyhow, I just read an article published by NBC News talking about One Nation and yours truly, Steve Gruber and the Freedom Project, by NBC News, no less. Crazy, right? Good stuff.
I heard it made the Billboard chart.
It did, number 6. Got the trophy.
Oh.
Got the trophy. You know it. You saw the trophy.
Yep.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
I'm in the credits there somewhere.
You are. Anyhow, back after this. All right, we've talked about this. In fact, I basically touched on this with Elon Musk standing there on Louisiana's coast, talking about a SpaceX adventure of $100 billion invested to create a launch area that'll bring 10,000 or more jobs to the region, that'll produce the ability to launch hundreds of rockets a year from SpaceX, deep space exploration and all of it. But if the left had its way, there would be no billionaires. People like Elon Musk would have their money stolen no matter what they did. Oscar De La Rosa is an attorney, former Miami council member, joining me now. Oscar, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you? Thank you so much for having me back on the show.
Great to have you here. Look, and I bring this to people's attention because states like California, New York, and elsewhere, they're talking about wealth tax. Not what somebody earns, not capital gains, but if you have $100 million of value, they want to come take part of it. If you're a billionaire like Elon Musk, they want to take a big chunk of it. Well, I'm not sure how you would have SpaceX or Tesla or Starlink as an easy example. I mean, it's insane to me. Your thoughts?
Right. Look, I'll tell you, the left has, a rhetoric of being able to basically destroy what's working and make sure that anything that's good is pushed away from their side. How do we see that happen in the last 10 years? California is one of the largest economies in the United States. California is one of the largest economies in the world. And you see continuously billionaires fleeing the state to go to states like Arizona, go to Texas, and go to Florida. We see a massive boom here in South Florida. We see that with Ken Griffin from New York. We see that obviously Elon Musk going to Texas. We have, Mark Zuckerberg. We have a ton of billionaires, Jeff Bezos, that has moved to South Florida. And it's because there's no state income tax. But it's more than just that there's no state income tax. It's that we're friendly to business. The state of Florida wants investment because we understand the ripple effect that has on our local economy. We understand that the person that comes and invests $10 billion, $1 billion in a development, in a job opportunity, more people are going to have jobs. People that didn't have good qualifying jobs. Those people are also going to pay taxes. Those people are going to spend in the economy. It's a very simple napkin math of understanding how economics works. And apparently the left never took that class because they take what's great, an amazing state like California, an amazing state like New York, the immigrant capital of the world, the financial capital of the world, New York, and they're destroying it. And look, to our benefit, we're getting all these people come to Florida. The great thing about it is we're not complaining. We have great leadership here in the state of Florida. You see it time over time. The administration has chosen elected officials in South Florida to represent them on the international stage. And it's because we have people here that have common sense approach to politics. Get out of business people's way, get out of their way, let them do what they know how to do, and let government just provide services. That's it. That's all they should be doing. Don't meddle into the business that you don't know how to operate. New York is not trying to operate grocery stores. It just reported that if Aldi takes them $1.5 million to $2 million to open a new store, New York is doing it at $15 million. They're not in the grocery store business. So obviously the left has to try and find some more of a logical approach to how the millionaires and billionaires. If not, I don't see how a common sense person that has a business would vote as a Democrat or register as a Democrat.
Well, here's the thing. California voters are going to answer this question. It's called Proposition 40. And here's what I laugh about. It imposes a one-time 5% tax on the assets of nearly 250 billionaires still living in the state. It's never one time, ever, Oscar. It's one time this time, and then it's another time next time, and a time after that. It's the redistribution of wealth from the most successful people. It'll destroy jobs. It will destroy tax base. People are not going to stick around in California. Those 250 people are going to be out of there, or most of them, don't you think?
100%. And it goes deeper than just that because we need to understand why this is occurring. It's occurring, and I understand a little bit why the messaging is attractive to the younger demographic. The economy is a little slower right now than we expected. We still have a little high interest rates. I do see that this war of this conflict with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz has caused a little bit of a shift in pricing. We see that president and the administration is doing everything they can to bring it down. They're working very hard on that. And we see it happening slowly and gradually. The problem isn't that. The problem is the median income nationally is not rising at the same rate that costs are rising. Quality of life is declining. So, and that's being put on the college student. College students going to school, taking out these big loans, not seeing high-paying jobs, and when they want to go buy a house, they can't afford a house. So obviously, their left is attracting that demographic. And then what you have is outside influence in the United States, that obviously want to push certain narratives, which it works to that demographic, this anti-Semitic views, and obviously that, for example, Islam is not coming to the United States, it to be fearful of it in any way, shape, or form. So what happens is you have this class of college students believing this extreme left rhetoric that socialism is good. And it's because, one, they've never lived through it, or maybe their parents is already too far removed from being affected by socialism, and they never had the proper understanding, the proper teachings of why this is so bad. You're seeing it slowly play out in local politics. Tax the billionaires, they're bad, take away from them. They're not like you. Oh, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's tax them. All you're going to start doing is pushing them away. You're not going to have economic growth in your state anymore. You're going to have to now go to school and leave your state and go find a better job somewhere else because it's not going to be as good paying as it used to be. And what's also going to end up happening is we continue to let the left sneak this little message that socialism is good. We're going to lose the fabric of what creates the American dream in this entire country.
Hard work, dedication, commitment 100%. To a goal, all of those things. I mean, I can look no farther than Dolly Parton this week. Born in a one-room shack in East Tennessee and became a billionaire. Well, she would have, except she gave $600 million away to philanthropic causes. Maybe they should have taken her money away and given it to the government. Oscar, I'm going to leave it there with a little bit of indignation. Thank you, sir, for being here.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Really appreciate it. So should they have taken Dolly's money away so she couldn't have imagination libraries giving books to millions of kids? No, of course not. I'll be back after this. Well, the manhunt's still on for Dr. Frankenstein. Just got an update here. Still unaccounted for. Unlicensed Miami surgeon, Dr. Frankenstein. Joe Batista Cunha de Araujo's ankle monitor generated a tamper alert. Talk about cut and run. That's what he did. He cut and ran. Ivy was talking about this earlier. I just find it fascinating. All right, so 14 charges, 13 felonies. Arrested after anonymous tips led authorities to conduct a sting at his office. An undercover detective went in for a consultation on chin liposuction, was allegedly given a quote for the procedure. Araujo surrendered his passport and put on an ankle monitor, but that didn't work. He's from Brazil. So authorities have been notified in Brazil. The U.S. Marshals are on the hunt. He disappeared August 1st, apparently, 3 days before the scheduled beginning of his trial. So he's still in the wind. Still in the wind. His attorney, Mark Eilarch, said he was looking at discovery in the case and that the trial likely would have been pushed back. Here's the quote from the attorney. My client previously entered a plea of not guilty to the charges, and I was prepared to vigorously challenge the allegations brought by the prosecution. For reasons unknown to me, he has chosen to make himself unavailable to continue fighting for his innocence. If he ever reappears, I will continue to fight zealously on his behalf. People believe he might be in Brazil. Raising, it's just fun to say Brazil. Raising questions about how he did so after turning in his passport. How did you get out of the country with no passport? You cut the ankle monitor, but how did you pull that one off? Anyhow, that's where we stand at this moment. When we come back, Representative Mark Tisdale will be here. This is Daybreak. Remember to send me emails at stevegruber.com. Anything on your mind. I read them all and respond to as many as I find interesting or have time to get to. stevegruber.com. I do read them all, though. Make no mistake. Back after this. Well, Anthony's a little frustrated, and I don't blame him. It's been a strange week. You know, when you do live broadcast, a little inside baseball for you, when you do live broadcast, you have, on occasion, a guest that can't technically get it figured out, Right, Anthony, you have that. They can't quite figure out how to connect, right? Which is very simple, by the way. It's click one button and there you go, but sometimes it's too much for folks, right? But then you have guests that don't show up on you. We've had that a couple of times here this week, more than normal, I'll say. So Anthony gets frustrated. He starts, throwing cats, and it's weird. But
well, you think about, I mean, on a packed day, we have 8 guests. That's 8 different people you got to work with very early in the morning.
Right.
Sometimes all over the country.
Or all over the world.
Yeah.
Fair point. At any rate, gives me time to get some things in that have been sitting here on my to-do list, so it works out. And this is a soundbite I found at the beginning of the week from one of the law enforcement people that are running the Minnesota State Fair, right? Minnesota State Fair. He says for years, gangs have been coming here, but they always had an understanding that it was not a place they go to war, not a place they cause problems. He said, but the Somali gangs don't care about the protocol, apparently. Listen to this.
We've had gangs coming to the Minnesota State Fair for 30, 40 years. But they've always agreed the fair is neutral ground. And let's all go have fun and respect the fairgrounds. I've been here for many, many years, but we've never had threats of violence like we're having from the Somali gangs. Well, we will have Karen gangs, we'll have some Hmong gangs here, we'll have some, extremists on the right here. But none of them are promising chaos except for the Somali gangs.
And in fact, it's so bad, they're saying that the Somali gangs keep up their violent tendencies and threats of violence and so forth. They could end up shutting down the Minnesota State Fair. How do you like that, Minnesota? Invite on all these newcomers. Here come the newcomers who are going to wreck your heritage. Wreck the state fair. It's crazy to me. And speaking of terrorists, the George Soros-backed DA of Philadelphia is Larry Krasner. Right, this is a far left-wing whack job. And he says he can't wait for the ballroom at the White House to be blown up so he can have a chunk as a paperweight on his desk. I can't make this up. Here it is.
And I'm going to have a paperweight sitting on my desk. You know what that paperweight's going to be? It's going to be a piece of the ballroom after we all blow it up. That's what it's going to be. In an official ceremony, just so we're clear. In an official ceremony, we're going to blow it up, and we're going to give the taxpayers their money back by selling all the pieces as paperweights, and I will have one on my desk.
And that guy is your district attorney in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. Pretty remarkable. And just for the record, taxpayers didn't pay for that. Give the taxpayers their money back. It was all paid with private funding, except for the national security portions that are built deep underground and we don't get to know about. Just thought I'd share that with you. Meanwhile, here's one of my favorite things I've heard all week. Great takedown of New York socialists by a Republican running for office in the great state of New York. Listen to this masterpiece.
Long Island and Northeast Queens. So all the voters in this district, they don't want that. They want common sense policies, which is what Republicans espouse. And the socialists, they recognize that they're all smoke and mirrors. Many of them who go out there, they act as if they're trying to help the working class when they themselves are the rich and wealthy. They're family members. You see it with this co-chair of DSA. You see it with Mondani. You see it with numerous DSA state senators right now in New York. All of them come from family trust funds. Their families are entrepreneurs, businessmen, etc. All the ideals that the Republicans espouse, they're benefiting from, and then they want to now change and revert back. So they're not progressives, they're regressives because they want to change the way of America.
Gustavo Gordon.
Yeah. There you go. They are regressive. They're not progressive, they are regressive. Okay, how about one more? Let's see here. Democrat Senator Chris Murphy, I think he's from Connecticut, right? Asked about why is voter verification a bad thing? Asked this on a left-wing network. Why is making sure that voters
in your
are
view,
legal to vote?
what is the harm in the Department of Homeland Security creating a list of eligible voters?
Well, ultimately, Trump doesn't want people to vote, and he's going to be very selective about who he doesn't want to vote. He doesn't want people who are more likely to vote for Democrats to vote. And so, he's going to instruct either Department of Homeland Security or the Postal Service, potentially, to remove people from the voter rolls or to profile people for removal from the voter rolls that are more likely to vote for Democrats, for instance, people who live in cities. I don't think there's any secret about it. Trump is going to use whatever power he has available to him to make himself rich. He's going to use whatever power he has available to him to try to steal the election.
By making sure that people that vote in the election are allowed to vote in the election, he's stealing the election. Got it. You see how twisted that is.
I also just kind of have a hard time with the whole Trump is just trying to make himself rich, because the guy's already...
He's already rich.
Yeah.
He's worth billions. It is a little nutty. A little update here. Qatar's Prime Minister, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman bin Jassim Al Thani. Yeah, that's his name. Visiting Tehran today on a diplomatic mission to de-escalate tensions between Iran and the United States. Doha announcing Al Thani would be visiting Tehran in an effort to discuss ways to de-escalate tensions and create the conditions conducive to dialogue. Qatar has served as a back channel between the U.S. and Iran throughout the war, playing a pivotal role in organizing the diplomatic process that led to the June Memorandum of Understanding between the two nations that has been completely meaningless thus far. But Qatar, Tucker Carlson's favorite place, is apparently getting involved with trying to figure out how to find peace in the region. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it. Let's see here. And I have a question for Brock, but he's probably not here. If you are the general manager of the San Francisco 49ers and the owner, what are you doing spending $140 on prostitutes? Getting arrested?
The owner, Jed York. Good question.
I mean, come on. Really? What a twit.
Yep, that's the owner of the team.
Yeah.
How much are you spending on him, Brock?
0.
Oh, good.
Good to know. Thank you for the clarification. Yeah. By the way, the footage of the arrest is now going viral. That's why it came up. Ivy's in next to the circus. We'll see what she has under the big top after this. All right, back to it now as we continue the conversation. Ivy slides back into the hot seat, and she's here to talk about whatever comes up. Ivy, nice to see you back. How's your morning been?
It's been pretty good. Just packing. I'm getting ready to go to my first women's retreat. So it's going to be interesting.
Don't retreat, charge.
I like that. Yeah. Don't retreat. That's interesting. I wonder where the name retreat came out from, because it does seem like you're trying to escape something, when in reality,
was it something I
you're
said?
Trying to fellowship. No.
Just checking.
I'm not retreating from you ever.
Good answer. Yeah. Anthony, save that recording. Anyhow, what's on your mind today?
You know, I have been looking around the world a lot recently, and just what kind of customs I find interesting. We love taking our kids on trips to just see the world, get some culture, experience some culture in other countries. And so I came upon this event in Spain. It's called La Tomatina.
Say that again. La
Tomatina.
All right.
And La Tomatina, so that's tomato. Every year, the small Spanish town of Banul basically turns itself into the world's biggest food fight. So I don't know if you're seeing this. I have Anthony's playing the B-roll here, but
I'm seeing
trucks loaded with tons of overripe tomatoes roll through the middle of town. People climb into the trucks and start throwing tomatoes into the crowd, and then everybody else starts throwing them on each other. Within minutes, those white T-shirts everyone's wearing are pink, red. People are literally like swimming in salsa. The tradition dates back to 1945, and it's been going on every year since. But
you know who would love that? Our son and his friends.
Yeah. You know, we used to have a great tradition like this in Boyne City, where we would have a big water balloon fight.
Right, and then they got banned.
Like literally thousands. I'm talking people would come with giant coolers filled to the brim with
water balloons.
Yeah.
And water cannons and all that. But then the balloons got into the river, they got into the lake, and then,
Yeah. Well, there's something you said about litter, but it was still fun. What would you participate in this?
In the food fight, absolutely.
I kind of find it mildly weird.
It is mildly weird, but would I do it? Sure, why not?
Like there's a video, I don't know where he is in the video, but part of it, the woman is like literally swimming in the tomatoes because the truck is so full and they're so overripe. It's like a swimming pool of tomato.
Yeah.
And I'm like, ew.
Well, you like food? Come on, Ivy.
I like food.
Yeah, come on. No, I think that's entertaining.
Yeah.
That's part of the culture.
Absolutely.
Since 1945, it's part of the culture.
Yeah.
All right, so Anthony asked me earlier, because we were talking about Elon Musk spending $100 billion on the Louisiana coast for a launch facility for SpaceX,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Going to launch hundreds of rockets a year when they get this built. 10, 11,000 jobs. If you had a free ride, would you do it? Would you take a ride into space?
You know, I would. I don't know that my body's capable of doing it, but I would love to. The only reason I say that is because I tend to black out and high G-forces. I've done this on many roller coasters.
Yeah.
So I just, I think that there are some parameters that you have to meet in order to go to space. So I'm not sure if I would actually be able to do it or not. But I find it fascinating. I think it would be incredible to see the Earth from space. Don't you?
I do. I'm taking that bottle rocket ride.
Are you?
Yeah. Anthony said he'd do it too. Maybe we get 3 tickets.
Okay.
But you're right. You black out on roller coasters. That might be a problem.
It would probably be fun for others to have me black out and then.
Can I go if you don't? I mean, John Glenn was 77 years old when they.
I would support you if you wanted to go.
Well, I want to go. Can you buy me a ticket? They're not free yet.
No, I think they're, what are they, like $100,000 to go?
I don't think you can get it for that, more than that.
Oh, wow.
So my dream is denied because it's 100 or 200 or 500 grand? Come on.
Well, it may not be in the budget.
What'd you do this month? Well, I flew to Mars. What'd that cost? $2.3 million.
Are there any traditions, Steve, that you had ever been part of that you just love, cherish, want to bring back.
You know, other than the holidays, I mean, I'm a big fan of Thanksgiving, big fan of Christmas. Didn't used to like Christmas as much until you came around, but big fan of Thanksgiving. But as far as traditions, I love the water fight. And boy, I did. And I think they should do it without the balloons, just have water cannons and all that. And they were going to do that, and they banned that too. I don't know why. I like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But what about you?
Well, I think my favorite tradition with my family was my grandmother used to put out huge, like, towns, like Christmas towns. She'd decorate the whole house, and she would cover every picture with wrapping paper. It was just, she was so good at it.
Yeah.
Oh, I miss her so much. She's still with us, but she has terrible dementia, and so she's just not the same person as she once was. But she used to put on a party, and she knew how to decorate her home. So that was my favorite time with her, just watching her, create all of this for her family and friends. And then she'd make amazing Spanish food.
Which
like
I love,
arroz
by
con
the way.
habichuela, rice and beans, and just plátanos, which are like plantains. Just such a great, I love it so much.
You know, with Labor Day right around the corner, the holiday season, believe it or not too far away.
I know. Thanks. This year has flown by. I think we say that more every year, that things just keep going faster and faster. But it reminds me that it's important to slow down and enjoy time with people you love.
The quickening.
I think that's purposeful.
Yeah. Got to be purposeful. Otherwise, we'd never get a day off around here. Anthony's about to blast off on vacation.
I know.
Hope he has a good time.
I'll be running the show.
Yeah.
Those
Oh,
should be
boy.
Some behind the scenes.
We'll need a camera in there, of course.
Oh,
you knew
yes, I
that.
will.
Yeah. Ivy, love you.
Love you too, Steve.
We'll take a break and have some final thoughts as we head into Free for All Friday after this. Well, this is kind of funny. Debbie Dingle an empowered elitist Democrat from Michigan, demanding reporters stop asking her about Hassan Piker. Sorry, Debbie, that's not going to happen. During a student town hall with El Sayed and Jamie Raskin, Dingell opened her speech by calling out the focus on Piker during the Senate race. I am done, so don't any reporter ask me again about Hassan Piker. It's not what November is about. Republicans are trying to make it. They're trying to divide us, and we got to stop letting them divide us. I don't agree with Hassan Piker on a lot of stuff, and I really don't agree with him on some of the women things he said. And I'm still trying to figure out, is it the reason he exercises and looks buff is why he has so many followers? Okay. Look, I'm going to say this to you. I'm tired of people trying to drag me into it. I strongly disagree with many of the things that Hassan Piker has said, from Israel to, quite frankly, if you're a woman who has fought against sexual violence, domestic violence her whole life, what he has said about rape, etc., is simply inexcusable. I don't understand some of the followers and why they follow people. And I got in trouble when I said maybe it's generational. Look, Debbie, Hassan Piker has been on the campaign trail with Abdul El Sayed, making him just like you. You're both people out there campaigning for Abdul El Sayed, except that Hassan Piker has done it more. And that's right. Democrats get to answer for it now. All Democrats, because it's not just Michigan. It's Maine, it's Minnesota, it's all over this country. Hassan Piker has been campaigning for Democrats, Debbie, and we're going to continue to ask the questions. Nice of you to denounce him, but maybe Abdul El Sayed could denounce Hassan Piker. He won't. He can't. It's too late for that. Fight the good fight. Keep the faith. God bless America. I'm Steve Gruber. This is Daybreak. And remember, only you can save America.